Hello, welcome back to another installation. What would Lou do? So today we are going to have a look at the TWC Hex from the Jacob Gray company. Full disclosure, the guys at Jacob Gray did send us this for review. We did not purchase this. However, I have no affiliation with them other than just meeting them recently at the NRA show. I reached out to them and said, hey, you know, you're South Carolinians, we're South Carolinians, right? Let's Carolinian together, you know? Yeah, when I found out that they were based here in South Carolina, I was like, oh, I gotta get in touch with these guys. And lo and behold, they obliged and sent us this for review. But be that as it may, I always give 100% my honest take on it, my opinion, and I don't let anything sway me one way or the other. So let's just go over what all the gun comes with, and then we will look at the gun itself. First and foremost, right, you get a range bag. You see you got the little Jacob Gray logo there. It has this Velcro lining here so you can put any kind of patches that you want on there. You strap the pistola in right there, and this is also Velcro so you can move that around or take it out altogether. And then your goodie bag right here, and in behind that you have the magazine pouch. I believe this holds 6. I'm not a big fan of it being trapped in behind the zipper here. The pouch should have been maybe on the outside, and then these should have been free to open, you know, that way you're not scratching magazines up and, you know, digging in and out of a zipper. But yeah, so it's pretty cool that you get a pretty decent baggie there. So you do have a lot of the typical things in here. You've got the federally regulated lock that no one uses, a safety manual, which hardly anyone reads, and some other things in here. Thank you card, Stoker. We do like them Stokers. A shell that was shot through the gun, showing that it passed. So this one came with the RMR plate, the screws, and everything needed to install an optic. However, that's not the way they are working it now. What they're doing is there is a little booklet in here, and you scan a QR code. It takes you to a page, and it tells you that you have basically 4 options. So you can get one plate of your choosing, and you will get a hat, right? So free Jacob Gray hat, summer hat, which is nice, and a plate of your choosing, and you can also get a extra magazine, right? So originally it comes with 2 magazines. This is a great way for you to get a 3rd magazine, providing you get 1 plate of your choosing. If you order 2 plates, you will get those plates and the hat. If you get 3 or more, you basically just get those plates. So the 4 different plates are the RMSC, the RMR, the Delta Point Pro, and the Acro aim point thing. What it boils down to is that you can only use 1 plate, you know, at a time. So like me, here I've got the RMR. Now I have a RMSC as well, but I can only use 1 plate at a time. And so if they throw all 4 plates into the bag, most of those are going to go into a drawer somewhere and never be used. So it gives the customer an opportunity to choose whatever they want, to get some free merch, and like I said, another magazine. Now these are 17 rounders, but if you are in one of those places like California, you will of course get an extra 10 round magazine. The only downside I see is that when you get your pistola, you may have to wait a couple days until you can put an optic on it. So that's the only drawback that I see to the program. Now what they could do is when people order it, already pick that plate, and if it's just 1, then go ahead and give them the hat, the magazine ahead of time. I was going to give them grief about the 2 magazines thing, but you know, now that they're doing that program, it's much better in my opinion, because 3 magazines should be standard. Just everywhere, everyone should at least have 3 magazines. This 2 magazine stuff has to stop. But anyway, these are Checkmate magazines. I'm sure you are familiar with them. They pretty much do all the 2011, 1911 magazines nowadays. Just got to watch out for those. There is a problem with over insertion with those, and it's not the design necessarily of the 2011s and 1911s. I found it to be actually the Checkmate magazines. So let's look at the old gal up close. Now, I'm sure some of you have seen this on our channel already and Instagram. If you guys aren't following us over there, we do a lot of stuff that we don't post here. And, you know, you get to kind of see a more personal side of us. So if that's something you're interested in, be sure to follow us over there. What would Lou do _ and you'll find us. The pistol is just... every time I pick it up, I find something else that I like about it. Now, the first thing that attracted me to it was the grip. The grip texture here, to me, just looks awesome. Not only does it look good, right, but it feels great. It's a little flatter here, and then it gets much more raised here. And that really, you know, bites onto your finger there and on this side. A little bit back here too, but it's mainly here and here. And the mainspring housing is checkered as well, and it is good and grippy. No movement there. And there's a little bit right there on the bottom of the grip safety as well. Speaking of the grip safety, it is pinned, so no more crying about, oh, you should have pinned the grip safety. There you go. Me, I'm neither for it or against it. I don't really care one way or the other. If you can pin it and make it all, you know, look good and work well, fine. I don't care. Do I want to pay $200, $300, $400 more for that? No, just leave the thing dangling. It doesn't matter to me. The safety itself is very tactile, very audible. It's not something that you are accidentally going to bump and, you know, knock it loose. There is a tiny amount of movement on this side. I usually like to see those really, really tight. That way there's no sort of breakage or wobbling loose or anything. That's a simple fix, really, if you want to take it apart. The female end is like this. You just squeeze it shut a little bit, not too much, and then you put it back in there, feel if the play is gone, boom, good to go. The slide release is basically the standard slide release. I want to see in the future extended slide releases, not just like the EGW one where it just kind of protrudes and is still the same shape. The one that's going to go over the edge a little bit, like similar to the Mac 9 here, right? You see how it goes over the edge. This thing right here works so well, right? I don't have to break my grip. I just go boom. I want to see that from a lot more companies going forward. So the mag release works very well. It is probably one of the best I've ever felt. It's so smooth. And one thing you'll notice is that it has this cutout here that kind of, I don't know if that really aids in it or not, but it allows you to press it deep. You see my thumb goes right in that little groove. I think I would have preferred that they still had the texture here. They just kind of made it dip down rather than having the texture raised and then taking that cut out of there. I think that probably would have made it look a little bit better. So moving on to the trigger here, you can see it's got the 3 hex patterns there, like the little brass knuckles look. I like the looks of that very much. It's sort of a mixture between a flat trigger and a curved trigger. There is hardly any take up, right? Like that's it, like right there. Okay, so let's see if I can hold this in a... Okay, so see my finger moving, and then boom. Oh. Reset is a little long, definitely longer than the travel to the wall, but when you get it there, it's pretty much crisp break. And yep, so yeah, a great trigger. The weight on it is actually very nice too. The website says guaranteed basically a 3.5 pound trigger, but when I pulled this one, it's more along the lines of 2.9-ish in that area, maybe a little less actually. It's just a tad over 2 pounds, which I think is a great trigger weight actually. I know some people are afraid of that because it's like, oh, if you're going to carry it, you know, you need at least 3 pounds and stuff. I don't know, maybe not. It does have a full dust cover here, or full Picatinny rail. You can see we've opted to put the TLR1 HL on here. 4 slots if I'm not mistaken, maybe just 3. A lot of people want that full slot, but there is one downside to it, which is right here. This does come with a toolless guide rod. However, because this dust cover here is full length and there's not that little cutout right there, you cannot actually utilize this and make it completely toolless. And what I mean is when it comes time to press this out, this style of guide rod, which I'm pretty sure is an Atlas toolless guide rod, the way that it's designed, it puts a lot of pressure on this slide release here. And so when it comes time to poke it out with your finger like you do with the other ones, it's not going anywhere. So you have to then take a screwdriver, your key, your pocket knife, multi-tool, something, poke that out or pry it up, and so it kind of defeats the purpose of having a toolless guide rod in the first place. I mean, you literally could have put one of those silly little 2-piece things, or the one with the paperclip goofy stuff in there, and it's all because of that full-length dust cover there interfering with you pressing the button. So that is a bit of a miss there. A bit of a boo-boo for Jacob Gray to have done that, but there's always next time, right? Of course, she is ported. The ports are kind of on the minimal side. They are long, cylindrical, and very narrow. They're not the typical, what you're seeing, like maybe like Bull Armory, right? They love to do the V porting, and it's usually like the big holes. This one is just kind of slim, almost like a more of a tasteful approach. You can see it's got that nice rose gold finish on it. To me, the rose gold with the colors that they're doing, it's an odd choice for me. These two colors I feel kind of clash, and the OD green and the rose gold I feel also kind of clash. I purposely did not clean the carbon off of here. I did want to, and I had a little bit. Every time I would shoot it like extensively, I would come in here and clean the carbon off, so it would be a little more dirty than this, but I figured I need to leave it on there so we can kind of see by the 1,000 rounds how dirty these things will get. And when I mean dirty, I just mean the carbon. I'm not going to let it just run it to 1,000 rounds without cleaning it at all. I don't do my own guns that way, and so I'm not going to do this one that way either. Super smooth. I mean, it is so smooth. I mean, I could take my pinky if I can get it. Yeah, I can get it on the sight there. Very smooth gun. Speaking of the sight, it is an XS sight, and it is a night and day sight. So if you look in there, you might see there's a tritium insert, and during the day, it's basically your orange. So I like that. It's not the typical fiber optic sight. I'd like to see more companies doing this, putting these type of sights on there rather than fiber optics, because the fiber optics, they're okay, but a lot of times they fall out, and you don't have to worry about this for many years before you would have to replace that. So obviously it is optic cut. We did discuss that briefly earlier. The plate is aluminum, which I find interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but time will tell if the durability is there. Usually I prefer steel just because I feel like that's not going to fly off and do anything crazy. At the same time though, I do realize that this cuts down on the weight a bit and probably the price as well. One thing I don't like about it is you see this little gap right here? So it has these T-nut screws, right? And so the little T-posts go up into this hole, and then you take those screws and screw them down into there. Well, you can't just hold it upside down and do it this way, because anytime there's any pressure against it, it goes up into these little gaps and spins. So what I had to do was I basically had to just get something. This is just the first thing I grabbed, but you take this and stick it in that groove to keep that screw pushed up in there while you tighten the other one. So that was a bit annoying, and at the time I thought no one, I didn't know that anyone else was doing that, but now I've seen that Kimber has something similar. However, theirs does not have that hole there. It sits flat, so it works a bit better than this one. So if they're going to keep using that system, I would suggest get rid of that gap there, close that in so that T-nut cannot spin when you start to twist it there. So that's basically everything we're going to cover right now on the Pistola, and we will go a little more in depth on the full review. So as of right now, what are my impressions of the Hex from Jacob Gray? Well, there are a lot of things that I really like about it. As far as firing the gun, it feels great. The ports work well. Now, I did have to compare it to something like this because it is ported as well. Naturally, with it having a much bigger hole here, this one shoots flatter than the Hex here. But if you start just as big a hole in this one, you would kind of get the same thing. This, however, is much better quality than that one. It's just all around a better, more classy firearm. That I don't really necessarily need all that, but it is good to have those things, and it does make you do notice the difference, you know what I mean? Otherwise, I really don't have anything bad to say about it as far as the shooting goes. It's been 100% reliable so far. It's easy to keep the dot in the window. It doesn't go out. And like I said, this is just a little cheap Amazon dot that we are reviewing. And it works perfectly fine on here. So overall, I think the Jacob Gray Hex they make some good quality firearms. Now, will my opinion change once we approach that 1,000 mark? It's possible. It really just depends on how the gun holds up. Once we get there, I will post the video and you guys will see, and I will give you the full rundown on it. Everything I've discovered, everything that I have experienced, all the nitty-gritty and all that good stuff. So if you found this video helpful, we ask you to just strike that like, swirl that bell, subscribe and vibe with us, and make us feel all appreciated, baby. We appreciate you guys for watching. As we always say, seek the Lord while he may be found, or call upon him while he is near, because he is near unto those that be of a broken heart, and save such that be of a contrite spirit. You draw near to God, and he will draw near to you. He resists the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. So cast yourselves down before the Lord, and he will lift you up. Until next time, take care, and God bless.